What up, John?
Yo, John.
So, I was sitting and thinking about how at work, especially when I was much younger, it was hello and thank you for calling. This is Danielle. How may I help you? And now I was like, what up,
For
Danielle?
sure. For sure. For sure. For sure.
And how code switching
Mm-hmm.
impacts a lot of what we do and what we say.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself even now it's funny because I think it's more related to my personality than
Mm-hmm.
it is me switching my voice and how I'm speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I am challenged,
Mm.
either it doesn't even matter where it is, honestly. When I am challenged, I go from my maybe my easy, now I'm comfortable in being myself, laid back
Mm-hmm.
Danielle, to oh, you didn't know who you were talking to. So let me
Mm-hmm.
clarify for you. And maybe I need to enunciate a little bit more for you to understand me clearly. Do you experience that or is it just me?
No, everybody does. Everybody does. So the goal is to be as authentic as you can, which
Indeed.
the reality is
Hmm.
I'm not about to be in the street how I am at home. None of us really are.
Right.
But it is important to make clear, you know,
Hmm.
what you will and won't tolerate,
Right.
and whether that is changing how you uh, audibly respond, maybe. Because your face might say a few different things.
Indeed, it does. Indeed,
But
it does.
yeah, I think we all do that. And it's interesting that you said when you were younger, it was more. Definitely when I was younger, it
Hmm.
was more, but you become more comfortable, more confident
Hmm.
in your experience and knowing who you are.
Yeah.
That's really important. But yeah, it happens way too often, way too often. I think, it goes hand in hand with sometimes people try you because they don't
Ooh.
really know you. And in the trying of me, you'll find many things about me.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's mainly if I don't do that to you, please, please
Right.
leave that for someone else that has the time because I don't.
Right.
So, but we don't have the freedom
Hmm.
or ability to have a knee-jerk response.
Right.
Unfortunately, our
Hmm.
responses have to be more pulled together
Right.
and mindful so
Hmm.
that there is no offense provided because we just don't have that leeway to do
Not at
that.
all. Not even close.
Unfortunately.
Hmm.
Unfortunately.
It is very interesting because I've watched and seen other
Oh.
people just stumble
Oh.
over what they say.
Oh.
Their bias is showing. I've seen them, navigate in ways that I couldn't even imagine wanting
Ever.
to, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely not even trying to.
Mm-mm.
And when it comes to me, everything has to be pulled together. I have to be clear and
Mm-hmm.
our favorite word, articulate.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And
That's right.
um and to get to not even the same place or
Mm-hmm.
space
Mm-hmm.
that others are able to get to while just being a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I find that the more that I've kind of gotten into being more comfortable with myself, being more comfortable with who and how I am, and showing
Mm-hmm.
up authentically as myself,
Mm-hmm.
people trust me more, trust
Mm-hmm.
that more.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So knowing that, it's
Mm-hmm.
also like I don't want to code shift too much
Right.
because then I am being unauthentic and then
Yep.
people are confused by what
Yep.
I'm representing or code
Yep.
switch or whatever I said.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. You want to be consistent. You want to be
exactly.
consistent. And so the other side of that is for me being consistent in my respect for you and
Mhm.
the way I show up and the way that I respond. So if this is how I'm presenting myself to you and this is
Mhm.
how I'm showing you respect, I expect that in return. Now, when that's
Exactly.
not provided in return, then the environment is a little different. It's
Mhm.
shifted. And so, like you said, it's more or less now I have to assert myself a little bit more so that you know that a line has been crossed and now we need to approach it. I
Mhm.
always say that I am not a big fan of people who are passive aggressive. I would
Yeah.
rather you be very direct and aggressive if necessary, and we can, we can address it and move on. Whereas
Mhm.
passive aggressive gives me very backhanded backdoor type of things, and
Mhm.
I think that if more people were honest and upfront with how they felt to your face, then a
Mhm.
lot of things could probably be avoided, because sometimes things are clearly lack of communication, lack of understanding, or
Mhm.
miscommunication, and then some things are just never going to, you may just never see eye to eye with the person, which is okay. But I think, yeah, I think a lot of that happens. And I mean, we're talking about every day. We're not
Yeah.
just talking about a specific place in our day, but it
Mhm.
happens all the time. It happens
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, listen, and I know how you feel about your grandmother and older people in general. If your grandmother
Yes.
tried you,
Oh, well, grandma knows that I'm one of the few people who grandma won't get offended by me having
it's
some
something that
corrective. Uh-oh, you're frozen on my end. There we go. There you are. There you are. Back at it.
okay,
Oh, back at it.
am I frozen still?
No, you're back at it. You're back at
Okay. This is a blooper, ladies and gentlemen. This is
it.
live from our homes. What is happening?
You are frozen again.
My
I can
lord.
I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Well, that just went to
And I
shit.
just hit my head. Definitely a blooper reel. Wow. There she is. There she is. There's movement. Mm. Well, as Terrell would do. Okay, we might be able to cut that. Um, your question regarding my grandmother and if she were to say something that maybe is a little misstep. I am one of the few people who is able to talk to her directly about things. I think one of the few people in my family in general that's able to do that with a number of our family members because I am assertive, because I'm direct, because I'm able to be thoughtful in what I say, and still try to make sure that the other person is heard. But yeah, yeah, I don't, irrespective of the person.
Yes, but you
Hmm.
are never going to approach grandma
Hmm.
in the way that you may approach another person.
Oh, no.
This is my example. That's what I was trying to get
Okay,
at,
I see.
right? That's exactly what not that you would not,
Right.
but the way that you
Oh,
approach.
no, 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 no.
Right.
No.
That's what I mean. So we
And
all
nobody else
have
better not either.
it's a so we all have that. But I think yeah, I think in friendships we shouldn't have to code switch. I think we
Oh,
should be able to just straight up be who we are. And in a lot of friendships there's a lot of code switching that happens.
yeah, yeah,
Um it's uncomfortable. I don't want to be in a friendship
right.
that's like that. That's probably why I only have like two, three. No, wait, one, two, three, four,
I can't.
probably a handful.
I
Lord, if
can't.
anybody is watching this that thinks they're my friend, you probably are. You're
Oh,
probably included in not what? Okay.
oh
Sorry about
man, you
that.
did
Sorry
not
about
make
that.
that better. But no, I
No,
agree.
digging hole. Just keep going.
No, I agree. Friendships, when it happens with the friendships, and it's interesting because I find myself sometimes when people say particular things and I pause
Mm-hmm.
and I think about how I could react.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how I'm going to react. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a mix between sometimes I can be spicy and I don't
Mm.
necessarily need to be
Sometimes.
spicy. Just sometimes, just on occasion, a blue moon. Um, and then in other cases, it's wow, do you really know who I am? Like, do you know
Mhm,
me?
mhm,
Do you know
mhm,
me authentically? Because
mhm,
why would that be something that you would say
mhm,
and
mhm,
not expect a saucy
mhm,
response?
mhm,
Or are you looking for the heat? Because I can
mhm.
bring it. If you
What? Don't bring the heat.
don't bring the heat, I will what did I say? I will give you my
Lord,
hand.
give you these hands. I'll give you these hands. So listen, all right, so code switching friendships, we know that happens. Code switching and relationships.
Oh, Lord.
I do it. I
Whew.
do it and I get and it is frustrating to my significant other, right?
Mm.
So rather than just using very clear, raw emotion terms to describe how I'm feeling or whatever,
Mhm.
I package it up kind of nice and
Mhm.
present it.
Yeah.
Because I try, so here is a good and bad part of me, maybe. I
Mhm.
think about whatever my, am I frozen again?
No.
Okay. I think about whatever, like I think about and consider the journey that my significant other has had, my man, whatever you want to call him, has had before I entered their life, and maybe some trauma they've experienced, whatever. And so I also think about how I want to be treated and how I want to be talked to. And I try to present how I feel in the most effective and non offensive way possible.
Yeah.
And it never hits it never I miss the mark every time because it's like, don't talk to me like you at work. Talk to me like you would talk to your girlfriends. And I'd be like, well, I ain't gonna do that because you might get a little too much information. I'm just saying. But it's like, no, tell me how you really feel. So I
Right.
code switch in
Yeah.
relationships. And that's bad because it's bad for the way that the other person loves and
Mhm.
receives love, I
Yeah.
guess. But for me, I'm like, I don't feel like, I guess I try to control my emotions so that I don't react out of it or
Mhm.
say something that I can't take back. Whereas, he prefers to receive it as it comes, like, just give it to me so I really understand how you feel, and then I can deal with it from that. But if you giving me like this little piece, I don't
Right.
really know how angry you are or how you really feel about it. So I'm like, you know,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't do that.
I know you don't, but go ahead and tell the people. Go ahead and tell the people.
I don't do that. I'm not
Help
good at
us.
that.
Help those of
Um,
us that code switch a
how?
relationship.
No, I mean, me and your significant other are both Virgo Johns.
Oh
So,
man.
uh, so understanding that, um, for myself, I cannot, of course, speak for him, but for myself, communication is super important. I was just telling my husband this today that it really bothers me when communication gets convoluted
Hmm.
because that is not like I am thoughtful about what I say, when I say
Hmm.
it, who I say it to, how I say it. I am very intentional with all of those things. I want that from other people too.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
can take onus if I make a misstep, if I say something wrong, if like I can own that. But
Hmm.
if it's not clearly authentically what I mean and
Hmm.
how it's like how I intend for it to come out and it gets convoluted, makes me very uncomfortable. So I want that from people and I
Hmm.
want to give that to people
Hmm.
because that's how I process. I process authenticity, I process the realness, I process um being able to like I think I'm a logical thinker and not necessarily an emotional receiver of communication. So you
Hmm.
can be emotional in your communication, and some people have been towards me, and I
Hmm.
think they were afraid of how I was going to respond, but it was just like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, I got you. This is what
Hmm.
I got from that. We
Hmm.
good?"
Hmm.
And that's just how I am. So I think it is easier for me to digest it in its raw state because
Mm.
it's authentic.
Mm.
And that's my love language, authenticity.
Mm. That's a good point, and you might have provided some therapeutic help over here because listen, what this is how it happens for me.
Mm,
I share with myself how I feel in
mhm,
its rawest state. And
mhm.
I'd be like, "Ooh, if you say that, that's kind of rough. But if you say that, that's kind of rough too." So then I repackage it. Let's swap
Right.
this word out for this word.
Mhm,
But and then give it to the person. And then it's like, that ain't it.
mhm.
That's not how you feel.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like, so there's it's something is lost in translation and it feels like you don't really love me as much as you say you do, or you're not really invested in this as much as you say
Mm,
you are because you're not really sharing how you really feel.
Mhm.
Whereas it's like it's not that, but I don't know. I guess sometimes I care too much about how someone else feels versus
Mm.
just saying clearly, right, how
Mhm.
I feel without switching words. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I
try
wanna
that, see
say
how
this
it
to
works.
you specifically. We've had conversations where it's just been completely authentic raw,
Mhm,
like,
mhm,
I
mhm.
think that you give yourself you are too hard on yourself.
Mm,
Because I don't think you are not a mean person. Like, that
mm,
is not you are not like a dagger person, like, I'm not intentionally trying to hurt you.
mhm,
So
mhm,
what you say is not coming out that way.
mhm,
You're worried about how it's gonna feel, of course, like, that's love, that's great,
mm,
but you don't have to be so hard on yourself in the sense that your words are going to be so harsh that it's
mhm,
gonna hurt the other person.
mm. Well, listen, as always, this was
Yeah.
a very informative conversation. I've left with something good. I hope our listeners have too. Share with us in the comments if you code switch, irrespective of place. And
Mhm.
also share with us if you code switch in relationships and what that looks like for you. Let's talk about it.
Let's
Thanks
talk
for
about it.
watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe.
Alright, peace.